horrifying. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town.
School starts in 1 week and I just officially resigned.
I'm walking right out the door. I won't ever be back.
Give me my phone. Give me my phone.
This is the first time that I quit in the middle of the school year.
When do I decide to throw in the towel and leave my kids and my team?
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tony Ann and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. We have teachers leaving in droves, they're quitting their job and doing something else. So I thought that I would be able to talk about this just because I was actually once a teacher. I no longer teach, but I did do it for 3 years. And I do think I have some perspective as to why there are a lot of hardships for teachers and why they are leaving.
Mom said I had the rights to beat your ass.
I do think that the misbehaviors in the classroom has been on the rise. I think it's been worse ever since COVID started. So of course, as a teacher, you have to have your classroom be in accordance. You have to have them all on one page, listening and learning. But of course, you have a few bad apples that spoil the bunch, and they do get the class rolling and just turning into a jungle. When you're trying to teach a lesson, you have a kid that's throwing things across the room, they're fighting, they're cursing people out. That can get very stressful. And as a teacher, your sole thing to do, of course, is to have learning happen in the classroom. Now, I did want to talk a little bit about COVID as well, because I do think that COVID is one of the reasons why we do see a lot of misbehaving in the classroom. There was this period when COVID first started where we didn't know what to do with these kids. We didn't know how we were going to teach them at home. So we were trying to prepare for that. But in the meantime, in between time, the kids were just on their phones, on their tablets, listening to things that they weren't supposed to be listening to, watching things they weren't supposed to be watching, and things like that. Social media has really made some of these kids become grown, and they're still babies. And sometimes I really have to blame the parents, because it's the parents that are allowing their children to be on these tablets unsupervised and just listening to things they're not supposed to be listening to. A lot of the parents will just go to the tablets and to the phones to entertain their child, because when the child starts to act up, it's a lot easier to just give them the tablet and the phone to get them to be quiet than it is to discipline them. I'm going to call them tablet kids. How many kids have you seen at the dinner table, at a restaurant, or anywhere else in public just glued to their phones? It's almost like when they don't have their phones, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to use their imagination. They don't know how to do anything else but be glued to the phone. I guess I am on the older side of Gen Z, technically, right? Because I am 26. But when I was growing up, I did not have access to online like that. Okay. I could not have a MySpace. I wasn't on Instagram like that until I got older and I could be a little bit more responsible. But now you have kids who are 7 on these platforms just acting a fool. When I was growing up, my mom made sure that I wasn't on the computer all day, every day. She wanted me to use my imagination. So she would tell me to get off the computer, go read a book, go run outside and play. And that was how I was as a kid. I was allowed to be a kid. And I think that these days, these kids are not allowed to be kids. They have so many adult things and adult content just shoved down their throats just because they're on Instagram and TikTok. With COVID did also stem a lot of educational issues as well. When these kids were at home just on their tablets and not having anything to do, or they weren't logging on to their computers, oh my God, the kids were not logging on to their Zoom. They had to be on your Zoom to, learn the lessons. And some people, if the kids were left home alone, you can guarantee they were not logging on to their Zoom, because they didn't care. I think the schools also did not take into account the fact that a lot of them are behind in reading and writing, and because of that, they're going to be struggling with the material. So the school system, instead of making curriculum that is, a little bit more easier and they have to kind of scaffold their way up, they decided to keep the bar still up here. So kids are performing down here, but the bar is up here. So of course they're going to be frustrated and they're not going to get the material in the classroom. And when you don't get the material in the classroom, you just start to act out because you're frustrated. Every teacher that's a teacher knows that middle school, I think, is one of the hardest grades to teach because a lot of the times they're still babies, but they have like this newfound independence that they want to challenge. So they will push your buttons, they will push the envelope. You have a lot of fights that do break out when you're in high school just because someone said something about somebody on Instagram or somebody made a shady comment. It's literally everywhere. When I was growing up though, we weren't allowed to have our phones out like that. And it would be like we had to sneak out to the bathroom if we wanted to text somebody, right? Because we didn't want our phones to get taken away. Like our teachers were really on our butts for that. So we didn't have the time or the access to our phones to be able to have drama like that. Of course, drama still happened, but it would be a little bit less just because our teachers were on top of that. So now the teachers have started to just give up because I can't tell you how many times I've seen these kids just on their phone 24/7. I'm just like, put it away, put it away, put it away. And because we can't really confiscate their phones like that. And I actually will show you guys a clip. This man actually got pepper sprayed because he took away her phone because she was supposed to be having her phone out. And so she pepper sprayed him. She pepper sprayed her teacher. Like, where does she have the goal to do that? There was also another one where this guy, there was this big, I think he was a high schooler. I'm sorry, emphasis on big, but this guy was a big student. And he knocked out his teacher. He kept hitting her in the head, all ways on her body. And she was, I think, unconscious in the video as well. That's crazy. He was putting his hands on her because she took away his Nintendo Switch. If I had a handheld console, I wasn't going to bring that into class because I knew that if I lost it or if somebody took it, that would be the end of me. We have teachers who are fearing for their lives. They're fearing for their lives, honestly. And that's why we don't have so many teachers to this day. I think a lot of it too is also about the parents. We do have some young parents out here, and it's not to shame any of them, but with these young parents in particular, they are lacking the know-how or the skills necessary to parent their child properly. And what we see now is, them encouraging this bad behavior. Like those kids who are singing and dancing to that raunchy song, some of these parents are like, oh, he's just so cute. Like, yes, girl, dance. Like, that's a baby. And you're having her dance like that. That's disgusting. The payment is definitely not what it's supposed to be. It is not cute for some areas. And that's why we do have teachers leaving, because it's like, well, I can just go back to doing some other job and get the same amount of money with less stress. So that was just my little 2 cents on all of that. If you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. That does help me out a lot. And also consider subscribing to the channel so you guys never miss a beat on when I post. Also follow me on Instagram. That's tonytastic.life. I do post some things about my life there and some behind the scenes footage. So I think it's pretty cool. Also drive up the engagement. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think of the whole situation. Why do you think teachers are quitting? What do you think about kids these days? Let me know in the comments down below. And with that, that's the end of this video. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you guys on the next video. See ya!